Today is my 27th birthday, and if you can't tell from looking me in my eyes, it's been very emotional. I've never been a birthday person. I feel like birthdays have always felt very existential for me. They've felt very painful. I feel very introspective on my birthday. And the difference with this year's birthday is that I am in my new place. That's what makes the difference with this year's birthday. I am in my new place. Am I happy? Am I thankful? Yes, I'm happy. Yes, I'm thankful, because something that has been very difficult for me to admit to myself and to be upfront with other people about, which is part of the reason why I've been so closed off, is the fact that the hardship that I have gone through has put me in a position where I have no option other than to lean on other people. For me, that's very difficult. I'm a very hyper-independent person, and I'm so used to doing things on my own that when people or institutions or when any external force, energy, offers a hand to me, it feels so awkward, because I'm like, I should be doing this shit on my own. I know how capable I am. I know how strong-willed and minded that I am. So why can't I do this on my own? And when you refuse to lay your pride down on the line, it puts you in really difficult situations where all you had to do was speak out for help, and the help would have been there, and people would have been super willing to give you a helping hand. But even though this experience of living in a women's shelter, staying in transitional housing that supports women who are trying to get back on their feet from homelessness or domestic violence, and now being on in my own place now, this whole experience has taught me how to ask for help, how to tell people that I am not okay. Because I think that people look at me and they see that I am pretty and I know how to put myself together, but that is a coping mechanism. That is a safety mechanism for me, because I know what it feels like to be treated when people can see that you're vulnerable, people can see that you're not put together, people have pity on you, people look down on you, and I'm very sensitive to the external projections onto me. From an astrological lens, I have my moon in my 10th house. So that means that when people from the outside world project their thoughts onto me, I'm very sensitive to it, especially because I was raised with the understanding that I should have dignity in my lineage, I should have dignity in my family, I should have dignity in who I am and who I'm descended from. And when you have experiences that put you in a position of vulnerability, where you're not so strong, or where you do need help externally and that pillar is knocked off, it's very humbling, but it's very hard to reprogram your internal system to accept fucked up shit happens to people. It doesn't matter what you have going on in your life, fucked up shit happens to people. And when it happens to you, you better get ready to realize that there is no degree of separation between you and the homeless person that you walk past every day, or you and the Instagram reel of someone that you watch that's going through it. Because if you grew up in the West, to an extent, you've got an internal classist mind that is programmed into you from the higher ups to make you think that you are closer to them and to aspire to be like them. You know, you always hear terms like Black excellence and Pacifica excellence and stuff. Instead of realizing that you were so much closer than you realize, like one bad decision, I shouldn't say bad, but one decision away, or one experience, one traumatic event away from your whole world being shaken up. And that's enough to put you in a homeless shelter or to put you on the street. And anyways, so my story is that I was in a long-term relationship of 5 years since I was like 19. It was on and off. It was very unhealthy. And something happened where it was so drastic where I had to be like, no, that is the final line, because if I continued, that could have been murder. And it was tied into my family as well, because I was having a reaction where I couldn't contain my emotions because I went through something so fucked up. And my dad was like, you better go stay with your uncle, who is a predator, by the way. And he was like, you better go stay with your uncle. I'm not having this shit here. That was his whole energy. And it's like, I tell you that my boyfriend abused me just for you to come back with the energy to tell me to go stay with my predator uncle, because you can't handle the fact that I'm having a very valid reaction to something that would happen similar to that, or that is that. So anyways, I packed my bags that night because I was having the worst anxiety attack, and I was like, I can't stay here, I feel so unsafe. So I called the homeless hotline and I packed my bags, and then I went and had a bowl of soup in the area, and I was waiting for them to call me back, and then they told me, we have a room for you over here at such and such women's and children's homeless shelter. So I went there, and I stayed there for about a month. I met women from all walks of life, and for me, I was very optimistic. I was very excited because it was a fresh slate. It was like everything that I had been dragging along that I wanted to get rid of, but I didn't know how to get rid of, was just wiped off like a clean slate like that. So I felt like, even though I'm in this situation where I'm in a homeless shelter, I feel like I've been given a brand new lease on life. I felt like I was in a prison before and I didn't know how to leave my own life. When I tell you, my bedroom was so small, and every morning when I woke up, my window had bars on it. So I would wake up in this tiny room, look out the window, and on a subconscious level, seeing those bars on the window would just make me think, oh, I'm literally in prison. And anyways, I stayed in this homeless shelter for a month. And towards the end of it, I stayed in the motel for a night because they just required you to do all this paperwork and shit and go to the government office once every couple of days. And if you didn't do that or you didn't meet the requirements, they would kick you out. You had to go stay in the motel. So after I stayed in the motel, the organization that was supporting me, they said, okay, it's time to get serious. And then I think a couple of days later, they found a room, and they said, we've got a room for you here in this place. You can go and have a look at it, and you can tell us if you want to take it or not. And immediately in my mind, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this will provide me with a little bit of stability, more stability than my current situation where I'm staying in this homeless shelter. So I went and I had a look, and it was the most big and beautiful room. And immediately There's parts of me that's iffy, but that's only because when you look at a completely empty space, it's hard to envision, at least for me, how am I going to make this place feel like my home? But I knew that it was an offer that was too in sync and too much of a blessing to say no to. So I said yes. And thank you, God. Thank you to my ancestors. Thank you to all of the forces conspiring in my favor that had put me in that room, because I was given the biggest room in the house. I was given the old living room with like 4 massive windows, a door that opened to the balcony, the fireplace. So I literally lived in the heart of the home. And I was there for about 2 years, living with other women. There were like 10 rooms in the house. And I've learned so much from all the different women that have lived there. I've learned how strong women are, how hardship can really show your true colors. Are you generous when you are going through hardship, or are you a thief? Because the girl that was living next door to me, she would smile in my face, but she would be stealing my jewelry, stealing my food out of my fridge. And it's like, all you have to do is ask me and I will share with you, but don't fucking steal my food, bitch. Anyways, I only just moved out of that place. I was worried about where I was going to live after, because my lease was wrapping up in a couple of weeks from now. And then my case manager, the person who was working with me to support me, had told me there's this place now that I'm in here now that has come up. And I got the phone call when I was in class, and she said, you need to step out of class and talk to me now about this situation, the paperwork that we're going to need and all that. So anyways, I came and looked at this place. I said yes on the spot. I could only say yes on the spot if I really wanted this place. They gave me 7 days to move in. And now that I'm here, I've pretty much moved in on my birthday. I don't have a fridge yet. I don't have a washing machine yet, so I feel very vulnerable. Still, like, this is not really a home. Today is my birthday, and it's very emotional because it's like my birthday this year is commemorated by me moving into my own place that I can say that is mine. No, I don't own the land. I will never own land. The land has me. I don't own land. As a Fijian, you understand that you don't own the land. The land owns you. You come from the Vanua. You come from the land. So anyways, I don't own this land, but I'm so blessed to be in this space that I can call my own, that I don't have to share my energy with other people. I don't have to wake up to people slamming doors at 4 a.m. and people talking in the kitchen at 6 a.m. and I can just have a space of my own. There's a double-edged sword factor to this, because it also means that I will be in quiet, and that quietness is uncomfortable if you're alone for too long. I'm still getting used to this space, but it's something that I'm trying to get used to. Something that I'm trying to get used to is humbling myself enough to accept and admit to myself and other people, I have gone through this situation that has put me in a position where I do have to go to a place where they give free groceries, which is such a blessing. I have attended, women's community groups that support women like me that have been through DV and homelessness. I have been, supported by case managers, and the reason why it's so hard is because my old identity was so fixed on, I was an NDIS support worker, which means you support people who have psychosocial, intellectual, physical disabilities. So I was so used to being on the helping end, not receiving the help. So to be on the receiving end, it hurts, it stings the ego, because the ego is like, I'm too good for this. I can help myself. It really takes a blow to the ego to receive help. There's this voice in my head that tells me, you don't deserve this help. You can get it out the mud. You can do it by yourself. You can use these metaphysical terminologies and concepts and teachings to get yourself out of the situation on your own. But it's not that simple. See, these people in the spiritual spaces, they are pushing law of attraction, manifestation, all this shit. But it's like, you got to look at the context and your own personal life and your your karma. My personal karma is to fucking understand and learn how to ask for help from the outside world. So no, I can't do it all on my own. Who can do it all on their own? Because if you say you're self-made, you are denying the fact that your mother birthed you and literally made you, that the people around you, the environment around you, the plants around you had shaped who you are, had given you life. The trees breathed, is that the past tense? Anyways, the trees breathed life into you. The people around you, they shaped your experiences of humanity, understanding of humanity, yourself. So no one is self-made. No one is self-made. This is something that I have had a really hard time trying to unlearn. But it's so important to tell yourself, if you are in a difficult position, like, I'm deserving of help. I'm deserving of help. If I'm going through it and there are resources available, it doesn't matter if you fucking got a college uni degree. It doesn't matter if you were from a rich family. It doesn't matter if you came from a family of status. None of that fucking shit matters, because God can take that shit away from you to humble you, to teach you who are you truly when all that shit is removed from beneath your feet. Okay, because that's what's happening to me right now, is the humility. Because I had an inflated ego attached to, oh, my grandfather was this, oh, my grandmother was that, oh, my family name is this, and my grandmother did that, and my mother did this, and my uncle does that. It was attached to family status, and none of that shit matters when you're becoming individuated and you're coming into your own sense of self. Saturn is gonna fucking rip the rug from underneath your feet, and you will quickly come to understand and learn what the fuck is up, okay? Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. I gotta bounce, but it feels good to get that off my chest, because I've been experiencing a lot of embarrassment and shame around the fact that I'm in this position where I've had to accept help from charity, from NGOs, because for me it's like, oh, I'm too smart, oh, I'm too overqualified, oh, I don't need that, I'm too good for that, because I'm so used to living the good life. Not because I have the money to do so, because that's my taste. I love an expensive croissant. I love high quality clothes. I love well-made things. But none of that shit matters when you are put in positions where the rug is pulled from underneath your feet. You need to humble yourself to understand, oh, this is how other people live. Other people have it worse. Anyways, I'm going to bounce. I feel a catharsis from saying everything that I've said. I have so much more to say, but thank you for listening to me if you made it this far.